have 12 wooden pieces for 6 window sets. The wood is long enough, but after planing, some pieces are warped. However, they can still be used by finding matching pairs. I pair a piece bent to the right with one bent to the left. After combining 5 pieces into a group, I secure them with a hamling, a type of clamp or fastener. You might need to clarify the exact term. Then I begin the measurements. Each window set has 3 panels, so each wooden piece will have 4 mortise holes. After determining the divisions for each panel or window sash, I start marking. After marking, I continue by determining the size for the mortise chisel. Each piece has 4 holes, so for 12 pieces, there are a total of 48 holes. The mortise holes are created using a machine, but broadly speaking, the operation of this mortise machine is still manual. I have to lift and press down so that the blade on the motor can enter the wood. You could say this work is like a workout for my arms and shoulders. Pressing down and lifting both require extra strength. Before you watch me get my arm workout in, please watch this tool I'm holding dance across the wood that I've already marked. This tool is used to create accurate, straight lines on wood before cutting or carving. It consists of a main wooden block that serves as the body, and a smaller wooden blade inserted perpendicularly. The position of the smaller wooden blade can be adjusted to determine the distance of the line from the edge of the wood. This tool is an example of a simple, handcrafted woodworking tool, often used in traditional carpentry. Now I'm starting to place the wood on the mortising machine. Beside the machine, there's a small piece of wood standing on a bench, secured with an F-clamp. This is to prevent the mortising machine from being burdened by the weight of the long piece of wood on the left side and the length of the wood on the right. One by one, I'm making holes at the marked points using the machine. As you can see, it's almost like I'm doing an arm and shoulder workout. You could even say it's a core workout too, because my abs are also working extra hard when I press down on the machine and vice versa. This wood is hard, partly because I haven't sharpened the mortising chisel in a long time. The second part, I'll add to the ends using a router trimmer. The purpose is to make the tenon or mortise pin stronger. To see how the tenon fits into the hole, keep watching this video until the end. Once the hole creation is complete, the next step is to cut 24 pieces of wood to be used as pegs or tenons. The cutting is done using a table saw. After the 24 pieces are cut to the same length, I replace the black saw blade that I usually use for cutting with a bright red saw blade. I always use this red blade for splitting wood. Actually, one saw blade can be used for both cutting and splitting, but after getting used to it and observing, I prioritize the red one more for splitting. The blade is thin but hard and stable when splitting wood. Making the pegs is as usual. I stand the wood up and fit it into the corner of the square board that I have locked using an F-clamp. After everything is split, I open the retaining square board and continue cutting the part that I had split earlier, so that the pegs will be formed to be inserted into the holes. The strength of the window or joint lies between these holes and pegs. After the peg making is complete, there is still work to be done on these woods, which is marking or drawing 42 holes for 12 pieces and 84 holes for 12 pieces, for a total of 15-12 holes. These 15-12 holes are fitted with fixed louvers. As I said before, one blade can be used for both cutting and splitting. After this saw blade is ready for the task of splitting, I also use it for cutting, considering I want to be quick and the wood I'm cutting isn't that much, so I feel safe. Now I continue with making the holes that I have calculated to be 15-12 for installing the fixed louvers. Making it this way will be more sturdy and durable compared to just nailing it. The way I do it can be said to be the way people worked in the old days, or it could be called the traditional way. After finishing the process of making the mortise and tenon joints for the louvers, we now proceed to fill the nail holes left from removing the nails. Since all this is old wood, it leaves nail marks because when removing the nails, we have to make holes on both sides with a chisel or a small screwdriver so that the pliers can grip and pull the nail out. Most of the nails are headless because they are already rusty and broken inside. One of my friends is seen sifting wood dust to get the fine particles for filling the holes. I let my 2 workshop friends do their respective tasks, and I continue my task of cutting the wooden boards that will be used as louvers. 756 pieces for 6 sets of windows. I use a table saw for this cutting process, and I think this method is quite efficient, cutting 4 pieces at once. Each piece of board is cut twice so that both ends can be straight. After getting the same length of cuts, I arranged the boards behind me. Someone was helping to place the boards that I was going to cut. The boards were placed next to me, right under the table saw. Slowly, I cut, occasionally flipping the boards over so that the wood dust sticking to them could fall off, so it wouldn't interfere with the cutting process. The pile of boards that I had cut grew taller and taller. After I counted them, I added dozens more so that if some couldn't be used during installation, there would still be enough. Sometimes there were many nail holes and big ones, so I set those boards aside. For the type of wood or boards I'm using, there are 3 types of wood, including wood called Chengal Batu, Chengal wood, and Merbau wood. All of these are second-hand woods that are decades old, maybe even hundreds of years old. Considering the houses or places where the woods were taken from, the buildings are very dilapidated. However, these types of wood are not eaten by termites or white ants, and it can be said that these woods are quite resistant to water and heat. To relieve some fatigue after finishing cutting the boards, I tried walking to the back to see 2 teammates in the workshop sanding wood that had been patched using sawdust and liquid glue 502. The first sanding stage used number 60 sandpaper, and the second used number 80 sandpaper. In the corner there was a pile of sawdust that had been put into a white sack. The sawdust in the sack was the result of planing wood using a jointer. Inside this wood workshop there was no blower to extract the wood dust. You could see that the walls inside the workshop and the workers' bodies were almost covered in a haze of wood dust. After looking around and seeing that the activities of my 2 teammates were running smoothly, I returned to the table saw to continue the process of the boards that I had finished cutting. Open the miter fence holder. Then I clean the dust on the table using air by blowing it with a compressor. I measure one piece at one end and then align it with the table saw blade. The other end, I hold it with a piece of wood that I tie using a hamling. After both ends have been cut on both sides, the tenon is now complete. Then, it is measured against a sample piece of wood from the old window, because the making of this window is to replace the old damaged window, and the new shape must follow and be exactly the same as the old one. Meanwhile, next to me, 2 friends are installing the router bit, and after it is installed, I adjust the router bit. After one sample test run is as expected, I hand over the work at the router table to a teammate. After ensuring the 2 friends' machines are working smoothly, one routing the boards on the router table and the other sanding to further neaten and smooth them, I return to the table saw to finish cutting the tenons. The longer I cut, the more small pieces of wood resembling dice or cubes appear on the edge of the table saw blade. About 3,200 of them. Hey, does anyone want them? They could be used as toys or for handicrafts for those who are creative. Here they go into the trash can, which will later go into a sack and be piled with sawdust in the corner. And when it's full, it will be thrown away at the dump. Just one step away from the finish line. Wooden blocks as a base I place on the floor. Then 2 frame pieces I place on top of the wooden blocks. Then one of the frames I lock using an F-clamp, so that later when installing the grills, this frame does not shift due to the force when I insert the tenons of the grills into the holes. I start installing the grills from the bottom. This is so I can get the right distance between the frame on the right side and the frame on the left side. Continuing from the top or from the front, I install the grills by working backwards. Must be patient and careful so as not to make mistakes. Example of a mistake. If you rush and one of the frames shifts outward, it will result in the grills that have already been installed being able to fall apart. One set of grills has 42 pieces. I try to choose wood that is slightly the same color. There are 3 types of wood. Usually within one name, the wood can be slightly different in color. With all the grills installed before moving it, I clamp the 2 frames together using bar clamps. Then I secure the 2 frames with 2 wooden rods reinforced with screws. Then it takes 2 people to move it. After the grills are installed and moved, I continue by installing 2 long pieces of wood as a base to unite the grills that were installed earlier. I place the installed grills on the right and left sides, with an empty space in the middle because there are more grills to be installed. In one set, there are 3 grills that will eventually be connected. The installation of these grills is exactly the same as when installing the grills that were still in individual form. Long clamps are needed to ensure the 3 grills are tightly connected. I connect 2 bar clamps together. After the 3 grills are locked tightly by the bar clamps, the next step is to insert the long frame closures. one on the top and one on the bottom. 2 people are needed to help during the installation of the top and bottom frames. One person holds it in place while the other person holds and adjusts the height. It's quite difficult because the holes and tenons are very precise. With the help of a chisel, I slightly tap the tenon on the edge so that the tenon can enter perfectly. I do this on both the top and bottom frames. Then the clamps appear again to tighten everything. And then at each mortise and tenon joint, I secure it with a wooden pin. This makes it easier in the future if there's a problem. Simply by removing all the pins, the grills can be completely disassembled without damaging them.